चलेगा। क्या होगा, ज्यादा तो लोग हंसेंगे, इससे ज्यादा क्या होगा।
व्यूज आएंगे और क्या, उसके लिए तो काम करते हैं हम लोग।
True that. ठीक है,
तो
शुरू करते
Subscribe to f.y.i Arc and learn architecture with fun. And hit the bell icon to never miss any update.
hello guys, and welcome to the new episode of Art Saga Dialogue, powered by Infilux LED lights. And if you have not subscribed to my channel f.y.i Arc, please go and subscribe now. So today we have architect Utsav Kamboj, and now let's go and talk with her about her architectural journey and about content creation. So hey Utsav, nice to have you on our interview series Art Saga Dialogue, and today we'll explore more architectural side of you today. So starting with our interview on of our first segment, which is creating a creator. So my first question to you is your architectural experience as a student and as a creator.
as a student it was very exciting. I always wanted to be an architect. Matlab, not always since childhood, but I was sure I wanted to be an architect. And as a student, it was very nice. The whole journey was very nice. I did my BArch in LPU and I did my master's in Sushant, Gurgaon. So, maza aaya. During my student life, I did a lot of freelance work as well. So it was more of कि theoretical चीजें भी हो रही हैं, but practical चीजें भी हो रही हैं, तो side by side सब कुछ चल रहा था. Overall, it was good. अभी ऐसा है कि as a creator, if I talk about an architect as a creator, तो it's a very different journey. बिकॉज मैंने कभी सोचा भी नहीं था कि मैं कभी इस लाइन में भी आऊंगी कि मैं क्रिएटर भी बनूंगी, या जब मैंने शुरू किया था मुझे पता भी नहीं था कि क्रिएटर भी कुछ होता है या इन्फ्लुएंसर मार्केट भी कुछ होती है, इंस्टाग्राम पे भी कुछ एल्गोरिथम्स भी होते हैं, और दिस होल इंडस्ट्री आउट देयर. दिस वाज इन 2017 when I was very starting with very baby steps. So but the kind of response that I got from the content that I was putting across is what brought confidence inside me कि हाँ, ये जो मैं कर रही हूँ इससे बहुत लोगों को बहुत ज्यादा हेल्प मिलने वाली है. So then this journey is obviously exciting. बहुत तरह की चीजें करने को मिलती हैं, तो क्रिएटिविटी बहुत बूस्ट होती है, but it is more fulfilling than my student life because I have control over things now.
Yes.
और assignment नहीं करना पड़ता है.
Yeah. Like we have people to do that assignments now. So I have removed your favorite question to like what inspires you from architecture.
I will not answer that.
Yeah,
थक गई हूँ मैं यार, पूरे फर्स्ट ईयर में यही पूछते थे सब.
we will edit it out and this will be in the bloopers. But so coming back to my second question, how do you come with this idea of content creation?
Okay, so not a lot of people know this about me. So I started freelancing with one of my seniors who was also my really good friend, and she was in hostel with me. So this was in my third year. She was in fourth year, right? So I got to do a lot of work, and then I got so confident कि अगर मुझे ऐसे काम मिलता रहा तो मेरी तो डिग्री खत्म होने से पहले मेरे तो बहुत पैसा आएगा, काम मिल जाएगा, मेरी तो लाइफ सेट हो चुकी है. So obviously I was in a utopian world. Then I went for internship. That was like a disaster, and I should have known what to expect. I did not know what to expect. Then in my masters again, मतलब masters के first year में I did freelance work. With masters के second year was like really it was so tight कि आपको अपने लिए time नहीं मिलता, freelance work तो छोड़ दो. But after that again I started doing my job, and then again I started taking freelance work. But tab tak I was working with some people like my seniors, friends. It was more of a collaboration based work कि किसने किसी साथ partnership में काम हो रहा है. और job के time पे जब मैंने individually काम करना शुरू किया, जो मेरी लगी I'll be very honest about it. And that's when I realized कि भाई मतलब there was so many struggles, not just as an architect, not just as a newbie, not just as a woman, बट अदरवाइज ऑल्सो इतनी सारी चीजें थी एज अ बिजनेस पर्सन, इतने सारे स्ट्रगल्स थे एंड आई यूज टू गूगल देम, जो जनरली हम करते हैं. माई जनरेशन क्या करती है, हर प्रॉब्लम का सोल्यूशन गूगल पे ढूंढती है.
Correct.
So I got answers from, not from architect's perspective, but UX designers, graphic designers, and all those freelance websites, वो भी out of India websites, right? And that was very annoying for me कि भाई मतलब मैं कहाँ जाके पूछूं, मैं किसको पूछूं जाके कि ये कैसे करना है. So all I did was I just simply started whatever mistakes that I did, I just tried to solve them by myself, and then I started putting up blogs talking about those mistakes. कि ये ऐसे करना चाहिए, ये होना चाहिए, ये मतलब how to go about things basically. And that's how I started out. So starting में तो it was just a WordPress blog, and not even WordPress.org blog, it was WordPress.com blog. Honestly, it was not a proper website, it was a very simple blog जिसमें सिर्फ articles जा रहे थे. And then my husband, who was that at that time was my boyfriend, he forced me for one complete year to start on YouTube, to start on Instagram. And I was not the kind of person who wanted to come in front of camera. मुझे था कि मैं अपना काम कर रही हूँ और मैं साइड बाई साइड ये कर रही हूँ, बस इस साथ मुझसे नहीं होगा. बट बहुत पीछे पड़ने के बाद आई स्टार्टेड विद इंस्टाग्राम. आई गॉट अ हैंग ऑफ इंस्टाग्राम इन 2018 कि ठीक है, थोड़ा 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 चल रहा है. एंड आफ्टर दैट इज व्हेन आई गॉट द रिस्पॉन्स फ्रॉम पीपल. जैसे यूजुअली आप क्या करते हो, अपना पर्सनल अकाउंट को पब्लिक अकाउंट में क्रिएट किया, एंड देन यू स्टार्ट पुटिंग इट अक्रॉस. And then when I got the response from people, then after that I haven't stopped.
That's
So I
great.
found that much more fulfilling than doing the other work actually.
Yeah, the idea was having an interview with an architect and a content creator was that because everyone is like practicing, but no one is creating the content. Like you are the one of the few creators who is as well as practicing and creating content. So I could relate that on a much better note. Secondly, I think I also started my page in 2020. It was in lockdown, and the idea was to just create a virtual portfolio. And when I go to my clients, I can show that work to them. And dire dire then it shifted to content. I got to see many pages like you, and there were many other pages like who were creating content. So I was like, let's it be informational based also, and some maybe something different. Then it started.
And then the fulfillment takes you all over the place.
Yes, and now we are here talking with each other. So I will start with my second segment, knowing the process. And in this segment, we'll know about your processes. So the first question to you is your goal through this page or the media platform you run.
Okay. So initially when I started, my goal was to help architecture and design community and to bridge the gap between college and industry, right? So basically I was trying to fill that gap कि college से बाहर आ गए लेकिन अब आपको अभी actually आपकी journey शुरू हो रही है और आपको पता नहीं आपको क्या करना है. So that was the gap that I intended to fill since I started this platform. Right now it is that gap. Obviously, I mean, I have my own membership which is doing this pretty well, so that is like a structured way of helping people bridge that gap, right? It's like a GPS for them. Apart from that, now I'm also looking at sort of changing the society's perspective towards architects and designers. So this I've started, like, this has been in my mind since the last year, but this year onwards I've started working on pieces of content that helps them understand what is design in general and how does architecture and design community work and how they can get help from them basically. कि अगर उन्हें किसी आर्किटेक्ट को हायर करना है तो वो काम कैसे होता है, how do they go about it. And even if somebody cannot hire an architect, which obviously a lot of people in this country cannot, they can still create a space for themselves, मतलब a reasonable space for themselves without needing an architect or somebody. Because generally क्या हो रहा है, the kind of people that I'm coming across is कि लोगों के पास बजट होता है 2 लाख रुपए का, पूरा उनको अपना घर रीडिजाइन कराना है 2 लाख रुपए में, तो आर्किटेक्ट को क्या पे करेंगे, they cannot. And then the architect gets frustrated कि I'm working for peanuts, right? So it's better if you just have to paint, आपको सिर्फ डेकोर करना है, उसके लिए आपको आर्किटेक्ट की जरूरत है ही नहीं. आप अपना टाइम वेस्ट करते हो, आप उसका टाइम भी वेस्ट करते हो, बेचारे आर्किटेक्ट का दिल भी टूटता है, मैंने इतनी मेहनत करी, ना मुझे पैसे मिले, ना प्रोजेक्ट वैसा बना जैसा मुझे चाहिए था.
Correct.
So sort of to bring that clarity in people's mind कि whether you need an architect or not, if you need an architect, how do you work with an architect, and the most important thing कि वो trust factor build हो दोबारा, कि अगर architect कुछ बोल रहा है तो भाई सुनो and करो, which is a very long journey, but I've just started, so let's see.
So how do you manage your practice as well as social media?
Okay, a very good question. So my brother is also an architect, a practicing one. तो वहाँ बहुत help मिलती है मुझे. So since lockdown, before lockdown, basically, it was more of a 70-30 thing. 70% of my time went into projects and 30% into this platform. Since lockdown, it was actually opposite. 70% यहाँ चला गया. 2020 में हमारा कोई भी काम, obviously किसी का कोई काम नहीं चलने वाला था, so I gave my 100% to this. At that time, I think my audience reach was around 12-13K or something. I don't remember exactly. एंड आई थॉट कि एक साल लगा के, अभी कोविड कहीं जाने वाला नहीं है, ऑब्वियस सी बात है, तो 1-1.5 साल लगा के लेट मी जस्ट पुश दिस प्रॉपरली. तो मैंने मतलब 2020 एंटायर 2020 एंटायर 2021 आई डिड नॉट गिव एनी टाइम टू माय प्रोजेक्ट्स. आई विल टेल यू वेरी ऑनेस्टली. मतलब बीच बीच में मैं थोड़ा बहुत डिजाइन का काम कर लेती थी, कुछ थोड़ा बहुत कर, क्योंकि मन तो करता है, अंदर से इच्छा आती है कि कुछ करना है, कुछ करना है. You feel satisfied when you design something and it is built in reality. So now I have started again, but now there's this simple thing that I've done is now I have all my systems in place. मेरी टीम सेट है, मेरे सारे सिस्टम सेट है, सबके काम allotted है. Now everybody knows where they come in and where they have to do what. So I took 1.5 years to create proper systems so that this platform works even without me. And I work 1 month in advance. तो वो लास्ट मिनट स्ट्रगल नहीं रहता है कि अरे आज ये नहीं गया, आज वो नहीं गया, ऐसा.
I create content every day. Like when I have to post, I do it on same day only. मैं अलग से नहीं करता हूँ
नेवर
plan.
नेवर मेरी सिर्फ रील सेम डे जाती है, लेकिन अदर देन दैट इफ देयर इज a static post, a carousel or something like that, so it's always pre-planned.
I used
Reel
to do that, but अभी तो actually time नहीं मिल रहा है. Now I have to make my processes like as you explained for your process. I think I have to learn from that.
it gives a lot of flexibility actually if you pre-plan something na, so it gives you a lot of flexibility. Free time भी मिल जाता है और दूसरा काम भी कर पाते हैं.
Correct. So a different question now for the process, like when you interview an architect or when you find any research for a post, how is the process for that?
Okay, so when I interview an architect, you mean by the Instagram lives that I used to do?
Yeah.
Right? हाँ. So Instagram lives में sorry, एक बहुत सिंपल सा आइडिया था मेरा कि मुझे उनका प्रोसेस ही समझना था कि वो सोचते कैसे हैं. मतलब बिहाइंड द सीन स्टोरी मुझे उनकी समझनी थी. एंड आई वांटेड पीपल टू अंडरस्टैंड कि सोचना कैसे है, हाउ डू दीज पीपल थिंक. एंड बिकॉज आगे का पिक्चर परफेक्ट फोटो सबको दिखता है, पिक्चर परफेक्ट फोटोज की स्टोरी इज व्हाट आई वांटेड टू नो. So that was always agenda ki if I'm talking to them about this project, I want to ask them how did they reach to this project basically. So it was always about process. What was the second question?
When you research for any post, how is it, like what is your process for that?
Yeah, so for that I actually create a theme for an entire year. मेरा इस साल का थीम पूरा रेडी है, ठीक है. And even in that there is this again the agenda कि जो हम if I am making a material post, how is this material post going to help people. मैं क्या उनको सिर्फ information देना चाहती हूँ, और if I want to help them apply it, मतलब applications भी देना चाहती हूँ. If I want them to just if I just want to drive traffic, इस तरह से. So every content has its own pros and cons. जैसे reels है, reels is there just to drive traffic.
Correct.
But as far as your proper technical content is concerned, then you have to understand कि ये सिर्फ information के लिए है या ये application के लिए है. Like the content that I am now creating finishes पे, that is purely application based. अगर मैं PU की बात कर रही हूँ, PU कैसे करना है, क्या करना है, तो they can directly watch the video and then they can do it, tell their painter कि भैया ऐसे करना है, and that's it. जो मटेरियल पोस्ट था दैट वाज मोर ऑफ द मटेरियल पोस्ट दैट वी डिड बिफोर. शुरू शुरू में हमने वो मटेरियल्स किए जो कॉमनली अवेलेबल थे, राइट? दैट वाज आल्सो एप्लीकेशन प्रोसेस. बट देन we started working on materials that were not that popular. So that was more of a information thing because everybody is curious to know कि नई नई चीजें क्या आ रही हैं, what can be used. Even if they cannot use it now, they can maybe use it 2 years down the line, right? So there always have to be this agenda कि इससे मेरी audience को क्या फायदा होगा, how is it helping them. So that is how it goes. I always think the first thing is कि इससे audience को क्या फायदा होगा, student को कैसे फायदा हो रहा है, freelancer को कैसे फायदा हो रहा है, practice को कैसे फायदा हो रहा है. And if something is not working, we just stop it.
Yes, definitely. I do the same. So
Hmm.
basically, I hadn't worked with PU from before this, and there is one project of mine where there's a requirement of PU, and I see your highlights. Like I have also asked you to have those PU wala things on highlights. So when I come in doubt, I'll go and see that okay, this is the process, and I should follow it for my project also. So thank you for telling about the process of PU, and up tak like till now it's not started, but when it will come, I'll go and again watch those all highlights about you. So thank you again for that. So my third segment in today's interview is advice to fellow creators. And the first question is, does every architect or a designer should have a social presence?
No, only if you're comfortable with it. I was not comfortable with my social presence, honestly. I did a Udemy online course on how to be camera friendly and how to make videos. Okay, and if you'll ever see any pictures of mine, I'm horrible with camera. मैं पोज नहीं कर सकती. अभी तक की मेरी जितनी भी पिक्चर्स हैं, ऑलमोस्ट ऑल ऑफ देम आर जेन्युइनली कैंडिड. ठीक है, वो दैट इज माय हस्बैंड्स जॉब कि कहीं से भी कैसे भी फोटोज निकालनी है, मुझे पता नहीं चलना. जैसे मुझे पता चल जाता ना, आई मेक वियर्डेस्ट फेसेस एंड सडनली माय बॉडी लैंग्वेज इज वेरी स्टिफ एंड जैसे हमारे पेरेंट्स नहीं फोटो खिंचाते थे जो हम छोटे थे, वैसा अजीब सा बॉडी लैंग्वेज हो जाता है मेरा. So I had to learn to build a social presence because I was really into doing this. I was really happy doing this and I really, really, really wanted to do this. But अगर किसी को नहीं पसंद है कैमरा के आगे आना या इंस्टाग्राम स्टोरी में बात करना, वीडियोस बनाना, तो ऐसा कोई हार्ड एंड फास्ट रूल नहीं है.
I still can't speak on Instagram stories. So, and
It takes a lot of
again I'm like, I see your stories and I'm like, एक इसमें without any mistake how she's saying all those sentences. I am like, I create those three, like I create 3 stories, मुझे डिलीट करना पड़ता है, तब तक मेरा मूड खराब हो जाएगा, मैं लिख के खत्म कर देता हूँ.
हाँ नहीं, ये होता है. दिस इज अ वेरी कॉमन प्रॉब्लम फॉर मी. मेरा कम्युनिकेशन जो था ना, बात करना वो सब, वो शुरू से अच्छा था. I'll be very honest with you. But as far as camera was concerned, I started doing this. जो क्लोज फ्रेंड्स की लिस्ट होती है ना हमारी इंस्टाग्राम स्टोरीज पे, मैंने उनके लिए, क्लोज फ्रेंड्स के लिए मैंने सिर्फ 5 लोग रखे हुए थे. मैं उनके लिए स्टोरीज डालती थी, सिर्फ कुछ भी ऐसे बात करते हुए कि अगर मेरा, if my dog is pooping, or let's say if I'm doing some sort of cleaning, or if I am like कि बेकार है ये बंदा, या जो भी मैंने प्रोडक्ट लिया है, कुछ भी है, तो that's how I got confidence to talk on in front of thousands of people on stories. Yeah. Otherwise it's very scary, you feel like क्या है, लोग बेइज्जती कर देंगे, कहाँ से उठ के आ जाते हैं.
For me, it's like I'm not like camera shy, but I think I can make mistakes while I'm speaking.
Everybody does that. You get conscious.
Yeah, fumble ho jata hai, like you get conscious, maybe a wrong information, so you have to go and research again, is it right or not. So I'm trying to come on stories and speak. Like there was a comment that why you don't speak on your reels, and I was like कि फिर मैंने एक रील बनाया ऑफ अ सॉफ्टवेयर Revit जहाँ पे वॉइस ओवर दिया है मैंने मेरा, बट अभी भी आई एम लाइक रील हो रही है एंड आई एम स्पीकिंग, अब तक वो रील आई नहीं है. So I'm trying still. So let's see.
In fact, if you want to create reels, you can try some teleprompter apps as well.
Yeah.
उस
I'll,
मूड
I'll
में ही आता है ना, उनमें बस लोगो वोगो का चक्कर होता है, तो आपको कुछ पाने के लिए कुछ लगाना पड़ेगा अपना लोगो, बट उससे धीरे धीरे आ जाती है, पर आपको ये प्रैक्टिस करनी पड़ती है कि वैसे ना लगे कि आप देख के पढ़ के बोल रहे
correct.
हो.
That is the issue. So my last question to you today is, in your opinion, how to keep looking for motivation?
Dangerous question, Sagar. Okay. How I look for motivation is
Yes.
whenever I'm feeling like मुझसे नहीं हो रहा है ये, क्योंकि content creation में भी there's this time when you feel like you're packed, you cannot produce more content and you're not feeling creative at all. The ideal thing is to obviously take a break first of all. उसके अलावा look for inspiration otherwise. For example, if you're reading a book or if you're going somewhere, if you're hanging out with your dog, if you're watching movies or something like that, start looking for inspiration in everyday things instead of sitting in front of laptop and searching कि अच्छा मैं क्या बनाऊं. उसका कोई फायदा नहीं होता. Sometimes the best inspiration that I have got is when I was in the salon. Not kidding. जब दिमाग एकदम खाली होता है ना, कुछ नहीं सोच रहा था, एकदम ऐसे बत्ती जलती है and suddenly you have this idea कि अच्छा ये करना चाहिए, and then you just pen it down somewhere immediately because that idea will be gone by the time you're ready to implement it, right? Apart from that, I think for creators especially, there's just so much of pressure of constantly showing up, being constantly on the phone. मतलब मैंने तो अपना रिस्ट्रिक्ट कर दिया, 1 घंटे से ज्यादा मैं इंस्टाग्राम पे रहती ही नहीं हूँ because it was getting very toxic for me, honestly. So meditation also helps, and things which soothe you, things which help bring out the child inside you. कोई hobbies हैं, कुछ भी ऐसा है, anything that is outside of your work and that really makes you happy can bring inspiration in your life.
I think my hobby was to act in front of camera or maybe in the stage. So since my childhood, I used to
Hmm.
act. So maybe that
Oh,
funny reel helps me a lot when some of my content is not working on the page. So I am
वो
like
हमेशा ही
wait.
होता है.
Sorry.
वो हमेशा ही होता है.
या उससे मतलब बहुत अच्छा
Constant
लगता
doesn't
है.
work.
It feels good when the reel also relate, like it's relatable to many people, and like it's nice and it's humorous also. It tells about your field stereotypes and everything, and humor is always the best. So I'm glad that I started that on my page. So I think it was a great and nice talking to you, and we got tips from you from your journey and idea of content creation. And yes, we will see more of you on Instagram and definitely more collaborations ahead.
Yes, definitely.
I hope you have learned a lot from this video. Please like and subscribe my channel, and next week we'll be back with new episode.